Councilman Samaluka? Councilwoman Darminio?
Here.
Councilman Garrick?
Here.
Councilman Accomando?
Here.
Council President Mazur?
Here. Please rise for the salute to the flag, and I ask you to please remain standing for a moment of silence in memory of Adeline Bolshaw, past President and Trustee, Saddlebrook Board of Education, past President and Trustee, Saddlebrook Library Board of Trustees, former President George H.W. Bush, and remembrance of the attack on Pearl Harbor, December 7, 1941. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all council members and to all legal newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
The public is hereby advised that any statements made during the meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook may not be privileged or protected, and that persons or entities who take issue with such comments or are offended by same may and have in the past sought legal redress through the courts. Any member of the public who addresses the council speaks for themselves and not for the council.
A motion to open the meeting to the public?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The meeting is now open to the public. Anyone wishing to hear?
Larry Tychek, 92 Claremont. I know that you switched the time on the work session on Tuesday, but I mean, I was at a zoning meeting Monday night, and I left here, the board said 6:30 work session. So it really does take away from the time. We have usually 2 days to speak up here. And I'm asking if maybe we can extend the time limit. There's not a big crowd here. And I don't believe a lot of people are going to talk. Because, you know, I don't really think it's fair when we change the meeting last minute, unless it's an emergency. I don't know what the reason was for changing the time of the meeting to 5:30.
There was a memorial service at the high school for Brooke Costanza, and I asked, the council would like to
Okay.
attend it, so.
That's a good enough reason, but I'm asking from this side of the fence if we can get our time from Tuesday night, being that, like I said, I thought the meeting was at 6:30. I would have made a 6:30 meeting. I wouldn't make a 5:30 meeting. Or I could have changed my plans during the day if I would have known, but I didn't have known.
Right, well,
Okay.
begin and let's see
All right,
what we need.
this is just a couple of things. The paving on Claremont, great, excellent. Curbs, everything, good job. The only thing I wish we could have did sooner was with the weather conditions and stuff like that for concrete and stuff like that. I hope we get the same guarantee, Mr. Engineer, from the contractors against cracking and flaking and stuff like that as we would if it was done in May or April. And I mean, the streets that follow up on it, they will give us that, okay?
If I may,
Go ahead.
the contractor at final completion will submit to us a 2-year maintenance guarantee.
Okay. There's another couple of maintenance things that were property maintenance. The hotel, Mr. Lodica, is a disgrace on Paley Avenue. And I also would like to know how many times the police are dispatched there in a month. How much calls were going over there. It's really getting shady, you know what I mean? They got a bus company working out of there. I don't know what kind of people you got in there, but there's an awful lot of police activity that goes on through the month. And if you would look into that and see, and maybe, you know, after a while, a place becomes a public nuisance. And that's what that place is being. They won't clean up, or I'm sure they were warned several times. The garbage is all over the place, the buses are all over the place, and the clientele in there is not the healthiest for our kind of town. You look across the street to the Marriott, the Crown Plaza, they're hotels, okay? Not this place. And like I say, you can read between the lines. The other one, like I say, I know the building's been sold, Carucci's has made no attempt at all to clean up anything, or attempt to clean up anything, or make it look presentable for the center of town. The other building is Amloyd. I showed you the photos where the senior housing was stored. It's a disgrace. And there's actually people that live on that block, Irma Place, that have to look at that every day. I know if I looked out my window, and I'm sure all of you's up there, if you looked out your window, you would not want to look at that, what's over there, at that building. I mean, it doesn't take much to clean the overgrown stuff and, just clean it up or do something. The other thing is, there's a lot of, like I say, you're noticing now doing the paving and the curbs with the trees and the stumps and everything else. There's a lot of trees, dead trees that are out there, a lot of uprooted sidewalks that are up there. They need to be taken care of. They need to be taken care of. We have to develop some kind of program where we will do that maintenance, like have a tree company come in, or if we don't have the DPW is not capable or doesn't have the equipment, you got to bring somebody in once a year and let them look at the trees and stuff like that. There's houses, like I say, I don't know the exact address. There's one house on Hayes Drive, the upper end, closer to Middle Avenue. It's got 4 junk cars and trucks in the driveway for at least 15 years. At least 15 years. He had 8 gallons of tar, 5-gallon pails, outside at the curb for 2 months before he removed them. They were, I guess the garbage people wouldn't take them, recyclables wouldn't take them. They were there for 2 months. Okay, he finally took them in. The Sampson Street has that one house across from our house. You don't even know it's a house there. There's all kind of feral cats around there living on the cars, living in the cars. If an ambulance had to get into the front doorway, couldn't get in. It's overgrown by trees. The other one, ride down Hobson Street and see what that looks like. Just see what that looks like. You got a landscaper there operating out of a house, has like 4 junk trucks there. It's not Saddlebrook, put it that way. It doesn't look like Evans Place. It doesn't look like Hayes Drive. That Hobson Street is a street of its own, and it's got beautiful bi-levels in the beginning. It's not right. Like I say, nothing is being done with our property maintenance, and it has to be done. The other thing is, I know we don't pick up the leaves at the curb anymore, but I think we have to have a better schedule, because when the bags are left in the rain, the DPW can't handle them. The leaves fall out. And I mean, we have to, I know Fairlawn this weekend works Saturday and Sunday. They're behind on their leaves. They still pick them up at the curb. But they did overtime and got them in. We had a snowstorm, an unexpected snowstorm. We were plowing snow, leaves. It was mixing in with the new curbing and stuff like that. That's what I'm saying. You have to make sure you get the right guarantee with because you had salt mixing in there and everything else. And like I said, I know the paving project had a November 9th deadline. We always go to over the extended deadlines and are always late. Like, why couldn't we do the paving in June and July? Why did we start November and then try to jam everything up with a November 9th deadline? You knew and I knew that the guy was never going to meet that deadline, but yet we still force it. And we're always late with everything. We're always the last one to catch up. The other thing I think should have happened is the paving of Fairlawn Parkway. Fairlawn did it. We should have coordinated something with Fairlawn and used the same contractor and came from Route 4 all the way down to Cambridge, and it would probably be the same price as we're going to pay for the 2 individual pavings that we're cutting Fairlawn Parkway in half, if you would have used the same contractor. That's how a business is run. I don't know how a town is run, but that's what a businessman would do. Coordinate something like that. And I think it's time that we start running the town. I know Mr. Simuluka's saying is to me, town is not run like a business. Town is not run like a business. But you know what? It's time that we start running it like a business, because it's our money. It's our tax dollars that are being wasted and being spent. Even if you save $50,000 on Fairlawn Parkway, build a nice park, for $50,000. The other thing, when I'm thinking about a park, Elmwood Park at the marina, I know you, Bobby, you're working on that park over here. They have the picnic tables with the, like the year-round umbrellas. They're not umbrellas, but they're shaped like, they're made like huts. I think that's something that we should look into for over there. So we do, you know what I mean? Just look around what other towns have. The Christmas lighting, that's what I always say, that's curb appeal. It looks beautiful. It lightens up Market Street. But like I say, why does it take us so long to catch up with the rest of the teams? You know what I mean? I hope at the end we finish strong and, you know, we're right up there with them. But, you know, we're always like in last place. And we don't belong in last place. Like I told you, it's a good town, it's a clean town, but you gotta work to keep it clean, and you can't let the outsiders take over, like they're doing on Paley Avenue. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Sylvia Zottarelli, 232 Lanza Ave. Because of the time limit, unfortunately, it forces people to come back and bring up things that they really don't want to, but I'm back and I have to. I'm here as a resident. I want to say that loud and clear. I'm not here as a Board of Ed member. I'm sure I'm going to get another personal attack, but we'll deal with that. Has the coach been removed from coaching?
So, with regard to this personnel issue, I don't believe that at this point. The only thing I think they should answer her about is, you know, if it's a yes or no answer, but not to discuss anything with regard to any of your personnel, employees, anything of that nature.
He's
So,
a volunteer. He's not an employee.
He's still, you have situations now involving someone who's got a relationship with the town.
Okay.
It could, you know, not just get into a matter involving whether or not, you know, he's an employee or not, but also you could be talking about someone and there may be information that may be in certain respects defamatory or slanderous, and I don't want to have the members of this governing body to be, you know, involved in a lawsuit because of that. I mean, she has the freedom that she could speak and say what she wants under the time limits, but I would caution the members of the governing body from saying anything in response specifically on this end.
Okay. Okay. Has he been removed? I think that's a yes or no question.
No, but the season that he coaches is over.
Okay. Through the chair, if I may ask the council individually, each and every one of you were okay with this? Mr. Simaluka? I'll start with you. You can answer it later if you'd like, because this is my time, but...
I'll answer it.
Okay, that's a question to each and every one of you. To answer your question from last month, Mayor White, which I didn't have more time, so I couldn't, why didn't I come to you and give you that courtesy? When we had a situation that arose with the Board of Ed, did you give us that courtesy, or did you run to the newspaper?
Two
No.
totally different things.
No, it's not two totally different things.
Sylvia, I don't really want to get into that.
Okay,
I don't really
well,
want
I
to get
just-
into it, but no.
I'm
I don't
answering
believe-
your question.
I don't believe there, and you know what, there was conversations with people to try to get messages to that individual you're speaking of, okay? So it wasn't like.
I'm
it
not
was
mentioning
just-
any names.
Okay, I don't want to either, so that's all I have to say about that. Two different things.
Okay.
And I did try to get my point across, get my message across there to that individual before. And I really don't
Okay,
like it.
no,
because
I'm
you know
not
what?
asking
Because-
you.
Okay.
Okay.
That's not.
I too would like
think
to
it's
say how nice the lights on Market Street look. They really look great. I hope to see more eventually each year, but they do. Next, Pete, I know I spoke to you. I did get a phone call from someone at the police department about the yellow curb line outside my house. He was supposed to come and look at it and keep me informed as to if there was anything we can do. I haven't heard anything. So if you, okay. And the tax issue and my assessment, please?
Sure.
Thanks.
Anyone else? No one else? Motion to close?
Motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
let me just start with Larry. You brought up a lot of good things and interesting things that do need to be looked at, and I will go over, I don't want to go over each one of them, but we will go through them and hopefully be able to resolve some of those problems. You do bring up some good things that need to be corrected. Sylvia, I just want to say that it wasn't my intention to demean you, okay? Maybe you felt the way I have that, but that's not what I didn't want to belittle you in any way, and if it came across that way, that was not what I was trying to do. I was caught a little bit off guard. Look, I want to work. I'm talking to you as a board member now, not as, okay. I want to do nothing more. I don't want to meddle in the board business, but I'd like to work with you. There are other issues, you know, what you're bringing up, what you brought up last month, and I probably said more than I should have, okay, about that issue. But you know, it's a public safety. What your concern is, and you have a legitimate concern. You know, you think that there's, and we can disagree. We don't see eye to eye on much at all. So, okay? Let's face it, okay? But that doesn't mean that I disrespect you, and that's why because I do respect you. I respect you as a person. I respect you as a board member, and I do want to work with you. Okay, I want to work with you, and the rest of the board. I really do. I think it's important. There's so many things that of mutual concern that we have as a town and a board. You know, one of the examples is the security in the schools. You know what? That's something that I think and it was great that you passed the referendum, because that involves the security of the buildings themselves and improvements there. I feel there needs to be some more done on that, as far as security, actually staff or people assigned to all the schools. So but that's, you know what, that's something we need to work with the police department and the school district. Those are things I want to work with you on, and the board. So, you know what, again, if you feel that I was belittling you, I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry if you feel, I don't feel I did, you know, but if you feel that way, and you know, I'm going to extend myself to say, I'd like to, you know, I really want to work with you, because you know what, I'm going to say, you are a person of influence on that board. You know what, and I'm going to compliment you on something, okay? I truly feel this way, that you're one of those people that you stand by your convictions, and that you're the type of person I'd want to go to battle with, because you know what, well, you know, no, I don't mean battle with you personally. I mean, I want you in a battle with me, standing by my side, because you're the type of person. You know what? When you're in a fight, okay? Right, passion. When you're in a fight, okay, some people stay and some people run. You're the type of person that you're going to stay, okay? So, and you're going to fight, which is an admirable quality, and I respect that. So, you know, again, I'm not trying to kiss your tail here. What I'm trying to do is say, let's work together on things that we can, of mutual concern. That's what I'd like to see. I don't want to fight with you. I don't want to fight with anybody. I want to do what's right. I want to work towards making this town better. So, again, that's just the way I feel about it. I have a bunch of other things I'll quickly go through. The budget. We're going to start having, we've scheduled hearings, Pete Ludico and myself, with department heads. They've been instructed to not to exceed the required 2% spending cap for the budget appropriations. So we'll be meeting with them before the end of the year, all the department heads. The 2018 road program, we spoke a little bit about it. Claremont Ave is complete. Most of the cement work is complete on the other roads, Hayes Drive, LaGregny, Erie, and Nedlick. The contractor is going to start milling tomorrow on Hayes Drive, weather permitting. And we do expect to finish this hopefully by the end of the year, beginning of next year. Those streets that I mentioned. Community Development Block Grant, the VFW, we put in for two different grants. One for the VFW, as a service organization, to to help build handicapped accessible bathrooms in the downstairs. And also a paving project, north and south West Wing. We also put in for a FEMA grant for a generator for our senior citizens building. That is, the senior building does act as an emergency shelter in case residents need to be evacuated during a major incident or any other type of emergency. We had a meeting on Monday, December 3rd, this past Monday, about the Market Street Bridge at Market and Rochelle Avenue. The light there, Rochelle and Essex and Maine. Councilman Simaluka was at that meeting, and I'm sure you'll update on that, right? Okay. Holiday tree lighting party, the tree lighting and the party was held on Friday, November 23rd. Another excellent job by our Projects and Activities Committee. I want to thank Councilwoman Karen Darminio, Councilman Todd Accomundo, Co-Chairwoman Shannon Accomundo, and Christine Generario, the Women's Club of Saddlebrook, Tommy Van Winkle and Joanne Brindell for taking photos, members of the Mayor's Youth Group for helping decorate earlier that day, our police department, fire department, DPW, Joe Shope and Deborah Kenriata as Santa and Mrs. Claus. There's a video, the event was videoed, both events, and you can watch it on Our Town TV, YouTube, or the town website or Facebook. There was a flag retirement ceremony last week, and I want to thank the members of the VFW Post 3484, Boy Scout Troop 213, and the Cub Scout Troop 222 for holding this flag retirement ceremony. It was last Tuesday night in the rear parking lot of the VFW. What they do is they burn the ceremony where they burn the flags. This ceremony is a way to destroy worn, tattered flags in a dignified manner. The Scouts also have a box in front vestibule here at Town Hall for anyone who needs to dispose of an American flag, and then they have these ceremonies periodically throughout the year. Winter Wonderland tree decorating. For the last 3 years, the County of Bergen purchases a live Christmas tree for each municipality in the county, and they display them in a designated area at the Winter Wonderland, which is at Van Zorn Park. So they allow representatives from each town to come and decorate the tree, which is then kept on display in that area until the holiday season's over. And then the tree is given to the municipality and we plant it. But I want to thank Christine Generario for decorating our tree, which did get, a photo of the tree appeared in the Record newspaper last week and in today's community news that was delivered to everybody's house. So we got some positive press there. I also want to thank the council for appropriating the funds for the holiday lights. That was Mr. Simaluka's idea, which I feel, and we all feel, apparently you feel, that it makes the town look more festive. Challenger Christmas Party. I want to thank Lou Varelli, commander of the VFW, for again organizing the Challenger Christmas Party that took place on Sunday, December 2nd, this past Sunday at the Saddlebrook VFW. For decades, Lou and town resident Tommy Hayes have supported sports programs for kids with special needs and disabilities, and they've hosted this particular party for the last 27 years. The kids and their families have a great time, dancing, singing Christmas carols, and receive presents, and they get a visit from Santa and Mrs. Claus. And the last couple of years, many of the kids that, are now included, they come to this party, members of the Saddlebrook Angels. And I want to thank James and Monica Maniscalco for running that very important program here in town. At the ARP meeting this past Monday, December 3rd, the Choraleers, which is a select group of choir, of students from the Saddlebrook High School Middle School Choir, performed for the members of the ARP. The students did an awesome job singing a variety of Christmas carols and holiday songs, and they were led by their choral director, Malcolm Kudan. Our senior citizens were very appreciative, and they really raved about the show. So a big thank you to Mr. Kudan and the Choraleers. Some upcoming events, the township decorating contest for houses for the holidays. Registration began December 1st and goes to the 18th. The judging will be December 19th. The mayor's youth group is involved in that, where they go around with the bus, the senior bus, and they judge these houses that are registered. So that's the one thing. And then the other thing is there's a blood drive, which is sponsored by the Saddlebrook Fire Department. That will be Thursday, December 27th, 3:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at Engine Company Number 1. I also just want to mention Addie Goldschall. So we lost another good one in Saddlebrook. She was an honorable, very valued member of our community. Had served on many different capacities throughout her years. And I want to offer my condolences to her family, and she will be missed. And last, I just want to wish everyone a very happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and a happy, healthy New Year.
Thank you, Mayor. Council comments? Todd?
I don't have really much now, just other than great job for the holiday party. It was well attended. And everybody had a great time. Merry Christmas. I'll say more later, but that's all I have to say.
Okay, no problem. Councilman?
I'd just like to comment on the paving. It's not getting done as quickly as we'd like it to, but it's getting done. So I hope to see more streets get paved in 2019. I attended the holiday party and the tree lighting. It was another huge success. Everybody that was involved with that, I'd like to thank them for another huge success. Also on Market Street, the lights, I think it's a great thing. Hats off to Andrew Simaluka for that idea. Hopefully we can add to it the following year. Also, happy holiday to everyone, Merry Christmas, and a happy and healthy New Year. Thank you.
Just through the chair, in regards to the paving, this is a good question, because you said we're going to start milling tomorrow. We're looking at snow tomorrow. Now, we know how the forecasters are in predicting snow. They're not very well at it. If, in fact, we do get a storm like we did last week, or a couple weeks ago, would that affect the new blacktop getting paved? Getting plowed?
No.
No. Okay. And how about the curbs getting hit or in good shape? And the other question, should we, I hate to even say the word, delay milling tomorrow if in fact we do it? Because my thinking is if the manholes are raised and we're going down that street with a plow, I'd hate to see, and we go down, I plow, so I know if you hit that manhole, that truck is gonna jerk either direction. And the truck that big, who knows what may happen. It may hit a curb, hit a house, hit something, because at that speed, hitting a raised manhole could do a lot of damage, not only to the truck, but God forbid the individual inside of it.
It's, well, Rick,
We can certainly tell the contractor to postpone.
Because I hate to use the word delay, but I mean, I think safety is more of an issue here than getting a road paved at this point. Sorry, Andrew, I know it's your street, but
When is it supposed to snow?
they said tomorrow, it's supposed to snow tomorrow.
I didn't hear that we're supposed to get it snow.
I still hope you're wrong.
It's gonna miss us? All right, well, they said that the same thing was gonna miss us last time.
You got the snowstorm that's going across the country right now?
no,
The one that's in Pennsylvania heading this way, heading east?
I know there's one south of us that's going across the country.
Yeah, but that's the southern part of the state. But I saw one on the news today that's in Pennsylvania now, and they're saying we have a potential of getting, I don't know if it's just, we may get rain, I don't know, but they're saying snow, a storm's coming. So I just a little bit of caution, that's all. I don't know.
Well, I'm looking at my weather forecast, and there's a big yellow dot with a bunch of, it's gonna be sunny tomorrow.
Okay.
No mention of snow at all.
but it could change too, you know. It brings up an interesting point, though. If that were to happen, I guess we would have to put it off.
Tomorrow being Friday, and if something happens Saturday or Sunday, have them do it on Monday. That way you can pay it on Tuesday.
Through the chair, they're gonna mill tomorrow, and what's the schedule, paving on Monday?
Paying on Monday.
Sorry.
Councilwoman?
I'd like to say to Todd and your wife, you did a great job at the holiday party. Christine, I was away in California, but I did watch it, and it looked wonderful. I too want to thank my friend Debbie Canriato. She's a great Mrs. Santa. Joe. Everybody did a great job.
Thank you.
So, thank you. And it's just Merry Christmas, Happy and Healthy New Year.
Thank you.
First of all, condolences to the Goldshaw family. There's a couple other families in town. I know Diane Bonner lost her mom, and Tony and Mike Serbo also lost their mom. And unfortunately, I was unable to make the services. I apologize for that, but again, condolences to the family. In speaking to what Mr. Ratajczyk said, I don't think I ever talked about the difference between the government and business. I think it was more the government and a homeowner. Whereas a homeowner, I want my roof done, you know, I go and get some oral quotes, and I don't like the guy, I kick him off the job. It's a lot different with the town. I'm not saying it's different in a good way. It's different in a bad way. It's hard to get good work done in the way that, with all the regulations that we have to go through in order to get the right kind of contractors. It's a burden, and it's something that we have to do. It's not as easy as if you were a homeowner, and it stinks, literally. I agree 100% with property maintenance. I prosecute property maintenance cases. It's when people say, how do you get elected? It's, keep the streets clean, pick up the garbage on time, things like that. That's what most people see in the town. They don't want to see garbage on the streets. 100% agree. I've always said, and this is going back forever, having a strong property maintenance force in town, and we are working on that, and hopefully in the new year we'll see some improvement in terms of possibly additional personnel or additional time set out for the property maintenance aspect, because it's very, very important. And it's very frustrating, and I understand that. I mean, look at I've been complaining about the wall at the cemetery on Midland Avenue for 6 months, and they finally plastered it, and we can't get them to paint it. So we need somebody out there issuing summonses. And we're not going to make friends. We're going to make some friends by the neighbors next door. But those people, you never know what the story is, because, I might have had tar out there, but who knows? My wife had breast cancer. And it was just, I was at the hospital every day watching her undergo chemo. I mean, there are reasons sometimes for everything. But I agree, you knock on the door and say, listen, be a good neighbor. Clean up your stuff, and that's the way to do it. You have to do it in the right manner. You can't just throw a ticket at them and say, hey, because they're residents, they're taxpayers, and they deserve respect. But you have to do it in the right way. And I know our property maintenance guy in River Edge, where I do most of those property maintenance things, is very good at that. By giving them a couple of chances. But if they blow it, and they got to pay, and they got to clean it up. And if they don't clean it up, we do it, and we charge them, and we put and clean their houses. Sylvia asked about the coach. I'm not going to say much other than to say that I think the mayor spent 10 minutes at the last meeting talking about how he vetted that person. There was an appeal process. He vetted that person, and I was satisfied with his response and his answer. I thought he went above and beyond trying to see whether or not this person was a viable coach, although it didn't meet the letter of the law, possibly. I'm not going to get into that. But he did. There was an appeal process, and the mayor did a very thorough vetting process, and I was 100% satisfied with his response. Talked about the tree lighting. That was awesome, and
The glasses were a big hit.
and I got to say,
was you.
my daughter. Well, actually, I was in Home Depot with my daughter, and she says, "Hey, Dad, look at this." And it was those 3D glasses that you look at the lights, and it turns into different things. I was like, "Okay." So and she found it. She actually went to find who the manufacturer was, and we bought in bulk and got a discount. and everybody, that was a big hit. Everyone really liked that. So I have to thank her, and it happens to be her birthday, so happy birthday, Gabrielle. I want to congratulate Anthony Suarez, who's our town attorney. I attended the book signing. He had a book signing. He got screwed royally by the government a few years ago, and I knew that he was getting screwed royally. And actually, I was on the opposite sides of a pretty contentious litigation with one of his friends. I didn't even know they were friends. They were friends, and the person said something, and I said, just, you know, I read the transcripts there, and this guy is totally being screwed by the, you know, by the FBI and the Attorney General, and that person didn't know, you know, I didn't know that person knew Anthony, and I think Anthony appreciated the fact that regardless of political affiliations at that time, at least, that you know when something stinks, and that really stunk. Anthony had a lot of people speak on his behalf at the book signing. Congressman Pascrell was there. Some other people were there, and I started to read the book, and it is extremely interesting. So it's called Politically Indicted. I don't get a commission, but you know, look it up on the internet. So congratulations, you know, on writing the book and on, you know, surviving. Not many people survive a federal indictment because they usually don't indict people that they can't prove. But it was a sham case, and their main witness was a total shyster and a thief and a crook. So congratulations to you, and good job on the book. What was I going to say? Oh, we went to a meeting on December 3rd. I think it was this Monday. Pete and I attended the meeting. There was a couple of representatives from Lodi, representative from Rochelle Park, and obviously county people. What the proposal is that there would be 3 lanes on the Lodi leg. You know, Lodi, everything is approaching the intersection. So three lanes approaching the intersection from Lodi, 3 lanes approaching the intersection from Saddlebrook, 3 lanes approaching the intersection from you know, Essex, from Maywood or Hackensack area, and 2 lanes approaching from Rochelle Park along the river. There will be signal, you know, obviously signals. They probably are going to have the red lights, the arrows for left turn onlys, which will help. They're figuring, I think they said, Pete, I mean, like we talked about the government, 2020 or 2021?
2021, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So when it's done, it's not an if, it's a when now. I think it's going to alleviate a lot of traffic in that area. Now, I was also the week before at the community partnership meeting, and Mr. Weinberg, who's in the audience now, is the head of that, at least for the high school part of it. And we know that there's some students that were interested in doing something. Mr. Sudol came up and said it's really dingy underneath the bridge, and I agree, it is. So we asked, no one really knew a contact to call to see who would be in charge of that. It's somebody at New Jersey DOT, even though there's a federal highway up above, the actual stanchions are the state property. All that area is state property. I don't know if they'd have to power wash it first, but we're gonna contact, Pete has a name, and we're gonna go through channels to find out if we can do it, if they would allow it, because the community partnership kids were interested in painting murals. Anything to brighten up the town would be good. I think that's all I say. Happy Hanukkah. I think it's the 5th day tonight, or 5th night. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, everyone.
Thank you, Councilman. I too would like to congratulate everyone that was responsible for the holiday, part of the Christmas party. I was at the tree lighting, but I could not make the Christmas part of the celebration afterwards because I had my 45th high school reunion. I know I don't look that old, but yeah. But anyway, but a great job was had by everyone. It was beautiful. Great job. My wife always does a great job, and Karen and everyone. Since this is my last my regular meeting as council president for this year, I'd like to thank everybody for the courtesy that you've shown me, and also a productive year for my fellow colleagues. It has been. We're very proud for the everything that's has been done in this township. It's not always as quick as we would like to, it's for sure, but it's getting done. Very proud of it. And Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy Hanukkah as we move on to our agenda.
We have ordinances. Ordinance first reading is ordinance number 1648-18. It's an ordinance to fix the salary, wages, and compensation of the police department for the Township of Saddlebrook, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey for the year 2019 for first reading.
A motion?
Motion. Second.
Yeah. Roll call?
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Dorminio? Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mazur?
Yes.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that an ordinance to fix the salary, wages, and compensation of the Police Department of the Township of Saddlebrook in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey for the year 2019, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 27th day of December 2018 at 7:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street. And that at such time and place, all persons interested in giving an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
A motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second. Roll call?
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Dorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mays?
Yes.
Ordinance 1649-18, first reading, is an ordinance of the Township of Saddlebrook, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to fix the salary and wages of employees, servants, or professional staff for the year 2019, blue-collar employees, for first reading.
Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Dorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mays?
Yes.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that an ordinance of the Township of Saddlebrook, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to fix the salary and wages of employees, servants, or professional staff for the year 2019, blue collar, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 27th day of December 2018 at 7:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street. And at such time and place, all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Motion?
Motion.
Second. Roll call?
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Dorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mays?
Yes.
First reading ordinance 1650-18. It's an ordinance of the Township of Saddlebrook, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to fix the salary and wages of employees, servants, or professional staff for 2019 white collar for first reading.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Dorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mazer?
Yes.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that an ordinance of the Township of Saddlebrook, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, fix the salary and wages of employees, servants, or professional staff for the year 2019 white collar heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 27th day of December 2018 at 7:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street. And that at such time and place, all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Samaluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Dorminio? Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mays?
Yes.
All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine and non-controversial by the Township Council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or member so requests it, in which case the items will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. The one motion signifies adoption of all resolutions, receive and file letters, correspondence, reports, and approval of minutes and applications.
Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second. Roll call.
Councilman Maluka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Dorminio?
Yes.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Accomando?
Yes.
Council President Mazur?
Yes.
Can we talk about any of these things, or do you have to wait till later?
Just for 1 sec. That's it.
We have all business.
Motion.
There's old business and others.
I'm sorry. Oh. Right, old business?
Yeah, I think it's old at this point, but the pool ordinance, I wasn't here on Tuesday unfortunately. My understanding is the pool ordinance, Mr. Suarez prepared something, it's gotta go before the planning board because it is a zoning ordinance, it's under our zoning ordinance, it's gotta go to planning board for a review and comments and come back to us.
Yeah, through the chair, if I can respond. We did bring it up, and some of the things we talked about, there's nothing in writing at this point that I was going to be conferring with some of the other professionals and look at what some of the other towns had, and then put something together for your discussion before you pass it on first reading and then send it over to the board.
Okay.
And being that you're ready at the, and this is the
At the end
last
of the year,
meeting, we'll
yes.
just do it next year anyway.
Do it
I
in
think that's-
January.
But the only thing is, through the chair, shouldn't we get their recommendation first before we pass it?
Well, I
On
don't-
first reading, I mean, to me, I'm a little concerned about that, because
I don't think that,
there was some discussion at one of the planning board meetings, and really not a lengthy discussion, but
Yeah.
there was some apprehension on the
but
part
I
of
don't
some
think,
of
I
the-
don't think that's the, that's the scenario. I think we pass it and then send it to them. I believe that that's the way it operates. Or we might not pass it on first reading, we're not.
Yeah, I mean, I know that from our discussion, it was that you looked at the review of last year's applications, and there was, I think, two pool applications, and you
Right.
said there may or may not be a need for this, so that was something that was discussed before. Am I right about that? That before you were even gonna vote on it, to see if, there was a need for it, and that you weren't at the meeting, and I think everyone wanted to give you the courtesy to be able to talk about why you thought that it was important. Right, is that how we left it
Yes.
off, that? So I think what we had talked about, right, was that we were gonna look into and see what could possibly be put together with respect to
Yeah, I did
any
some
issues.
research. I think I found 2 towns that may include, may not include the surface of the pools as impervious. And many towns are either silent or they actually say it is not part of the impervious, it is impervious.
I know, it was just brought up to me by a homeowner, who apparently wants to put a pool in and can't because of it, and in that person's opinion, that the pool is basically a giant receptacle and should not be counted as, impervious surface. It's not like blacktop. I don't know if anybody, I mean, we've had horrific rains, I don't know if anyone's ever had a built-in pool, or even above-ground pool where, based on the rainfall, that the water is built up so much that it's overflowing its boundaries. It's basically a container. It's a big bowl. And that was that person's position. I tend to share it. I really don't think that it should be considered impervious. That's my position. But certainly, we bring it up to the council, put it in writing, see if the council wants to pass it just for first reading. Doesn't mean it's gonna go through. Obviously, you need planning board input and comment, and then second reading, it could, if it gets to that point, the planning board may be yea or nay, or have negative comments or positive comments, or no comments, and then we'll have to discuss and determine whether or not, as a 5-member council, that a majority of the council would want to, agrees with what I think should be done.
So you want me to bring I can put a memo together and submit that regarding the information and research to, or I can put whatever you want. If you want a draft to have for introduction to discuss, it's up to, the governing body if that's what you want. I mean, it's up.
I would think we put it for, and this again is gonna be in January, put it for a first reading, and, first reading just gets it on the table, gets us talking about it, and then send it to, the planning board, where they're gonna actually, talk about it, because it is a zoning regulation, and, give their input if they choose to. That's what I think should be.
Okay with that? Okay.
I'm okay with it.
Okay. Right, that's what good. Any other old business? No, no business?
On the new business?
Yes.
Yeah, I would just like to say a few words about Addie. I've worked with Addie, I've known the Goshaw family for close to 50 years. Addie and I first got elected to the Board of Ed. We were known as the kid and the housewife when we first got on. It wasn't complimentary to some of the board members. So Addie one day calls me up, we're on a couple of committees. Says they put us here for a reason. So, you know, Addie, Peter, come over, we have to talk. We've gotten those conversations. And we turned those committees into something more useful, and I'm sure it probably continues on the board today. But Addie was an advocate for children. She served on the Board of Ed. She was a school nurse. She was a maternity nurse at Valley. And last year, she served as president of the library board. It's rare in politics. It's rare anywhere to have a friend, part of the family, as the Goldshaws, and especially Addie. And I certainly will miss her.
Thank you.
Now, this is new business. I don't know if this is new business or just a comment, but
Sorry, that was me.
to go off of what Pete was saying, I think I'm gonna start doing this myself. I'd like to challenge everybody in the month of December for the next 26 days to do some type of act of kindness. Because we have so much hate in this country right now. I don't know if it's just our country or the world, but it starts at the top. So I don't care if it's buying someone's coffee behind you, paying for someone's gas, opening the door. I just challenge everyone to do something nice for the person behind him, next to him, in front of him, whatever, for the next, I don't know, what is it, 25 days, to try and end this year on a good note and hopefully welcome next year on a better note. And it just starts with us, I think, and that's the best way to beat the, I hate to say, the nasty politics and that's going around in our country right now. And I think it starts with us, and I think we as people could beat that, and we're better than that. So I just challenge everybody to just try and do better and be kind. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Great idea. Any other business before I open this?
Can I say something for you about
Sure.
the public? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really say too much personal information, but first of all, I want to thank you for keeping me as your township attorney. I've been here, for a very long period of time. And, this is a great governing body to work for. But just elaborating on what Councilman Simaluka said, just going back, thank you for coming on Saturday. But this was the only, and I have it in the book, that when everything came down with regard to me, this was the only town that kept me in the public arena. Every other than Ridgefield kept me in office, but every town that I worked for essentially made me resign. And this town believed in me, and you were on the governing body along with Councilman Simaluka, and I remember Joe Sedekase, and I remember Lou D'Arminio, who's the mayor. He had a lot of pressure, and he kept me here. And if everyone fired me, I wouldn't have been able to support. I have 2 little kids. I would not have been able to support my family. I would not have been able to work, and I really appreciated it then. And then even after I was vindicated, I can remember coming back to that meeting and how happy everyone here was. And Peter, I knew for so long, since I had been here from the beginning, and just walking back in here, and then just coming back here when the mayor had faith in me and brought me back, and you all supported me. So I really never forgot that, and I really appreciate that. And I just want to thank you. I never, ever forgot that.
It's our pleasure.
We just want to be in the movie.
Good always prevails, Anthony. Awesome. At this point, I'd like to make a motion to open to the public.
Motion. Second.
Second. The meeting is open to the public for agenda items. Anyone wishing to be heard? Hurry up before I close the meeting.
Okay. Number 1, the cleanup for William Street. We're getting money back, or what kind of cleanup is that?
For Cleanup is the name of the company. It's
And what did he do?
He resurfaced William Street, and this is a negative change order.
We're getting money back?
We're not getting any money back. We're paying him less than the contract amount.
So we're
I said,
saving.
how much did that
It's a
street
good
cost to
thing,
do?
Larry.
We're saving almost 16,000.
Huh?
So we're saving almost 16,000.
Okay, but I'm saying, what, that's a tiny street. What was the billing for that?
That's in the, I can get that for you, Larry. You'll have to give me a second as I go through here. It's in the.
I mean, all right, let me ask you this one. What is Claremont, something like Claremont costs to pave?
I don't have those.
You don't know. But like I say, it's, put it this way. I've done some research on it with other towns. We're paying top dollar. Oh, above and beyond top dollar, we're paying. If you look what other surrounding towns pay. And other towns, I'm not saying, I can't say they're better contractors. They're better known in the paving business and do quality work. Like I say, other towns can get these contractors, we can, and we pay for the sub-professional work more than other towns pay for the A contractor. Look into it, do some research, and see what other towns pay. Okay? A lot more we pay, a lot more. And it's, you know, it's, sometimes I can't believe the numbers, what we pay. So, I mean, you know, I don't know whether you can shop around or you gotta wait for the bids or, but I mean, if a bid comes in and it's double the amount, you gotta throw the bid away and say, you know what, we'd rather ride in potholes than pay double because we can get 2 streets done for the price of 1. And we do. Like I say, I'm not saying we get robbed, but something is not right with the contractors that we use. Something is not right. What is Vanis's payment here for the refreshment stand, final payment? That it says in there, up in,
Larry, if I can go back, on William Street, the original award amount was $121,000, and the contract came in at $105,000.
105. That street there, you could probably get done for about $75,000 from a top-notch contractor. Okay? And like I said, I'm gonna say something else, that, like I say, I don't know what your tolerance is for puddling in the streets, but Fifth Street is not good. I'll tell you that, Fifth Street and Sullivan is not good. And these handicap ramps that they're putting in with the curbing on the people's lawns, they're water pits. They're gonna be water pits there, and it's gonna freeze over in the winter. I've never, like I say, I ride around. I've never seen another town do handicap ramps like that. I've never, ever seen them, where they put the curb in the street and then they put the curb on the person's lawn. You're making a channel there for water just to stay there. Instead of regrading the property or regrading something, you can't put 2 retaining walls on one side because it's gonna retain water. And I mean, the person in the wheelchair is not gonna make it. And the other question is, why wasn't there curbs put down by the VFW? Mr. Engineer.
Where is this?
VFW, Claremont. There was no curbs put on that side of the street. Well, check it out, because just like I said, what's gonna happen, you've got a guardrail, then you've got 6 feet paving from the VFW and the paving from Claremont. There's nothing for it to butt up against. And I mean, the road went down, the road is, we have boundaries now. All of a sudden down there, we opened up again to nothing.
Just through the chair, isn't that parking? I think that was parking.
No, it's not, they have a guardrail
It's not
to
parking across
protect,
the
that's
long
not,
guardrail?
I don't know whose property, I don't know whether that's a road or that's a curb, but the way I look at the road, it should be a curb and a sidewalk should be there. That's what belongs there. If you go into the contour of the rest of Claremont Avenue, that's what should be there, and it's just left wide open. Check from Rosemont, that Mike's owns now, from the corner of Rosemont to the corner of VFW Drive. There's a curb on VFW Drive, okay, that comes around, that was put in years ago, okay? And there's no curbing with the VFW parking lot. There's a guardrail, and like I say, there's 6 feet, there's no guidelines there. And that's what we were trying to do, was create guidelines for the water, the parking, and everything else. And we just left out, I don't know, 60, 70 yards, and just had it open parking again, or however it's gonna be. There should have been a curb there to prevent, or to let the people park there. Now, when there's a VFW event, it's scrambled eggs there again, and that's what you have. And we had the opportunity to do it when you paved the road, not after. So check it out, take a look at it. You're gonna go there and you're gonna see no curb. That's what you're gonna see. I mean, you know, I'm not gonna come up here and lie to you and tell you there's a curb there. But a curb belongs there. I also spoke to the mayor tonight about a curb on LaGregny. Right? If you wanna touch base with him, with that. Because now's the time. Once they pave it and once the concrete goes away, you're not gonna dig it back up again. I mean, you know, just do yourself a favor. Look at the curbs that this guy poured at the complex where Ed's Tavern is. Look at the curbs that Mike's Liquor Store is pouring, and look at the curbs that we poured. They look nothing the same. They look nothing the same. And there's 3 different contractors. Ed's Tavern, Mike's Liquor Store, and I'm saying where I live, on Claremont Ave. You gotta look at it to believe it. And just go there and just look at it. And you'll see the difference, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Like I say, I've never seen people's properties curbed. I've never seen it. Never.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Sylvie Zattarelli, 232 Lanza. I don't know if this falls under agenda. I'm sure you'll tell me if it doesn't. I'm going to try to stick it in under new business. It's a suggestion. With the tree lighting ceremony, the party afterwards, the celebration, when it comes to taking the picture with Santa, maybe you want to think about, and it's just a suggestion, having them fill out a form and getting an email address, and you can email the picture instead of everybody waiting and that poor man having to go through 78 times that picture. And they can have as many copies as they want that way. It's just a thought.
Well, thank you.
Through the chair, can I just have 2 quick?
Did we just finish? Anyone else? Okay. Anyone else wishing to be heard?
Can I ask about the train?
Not the agenda. Motion closed?
Motion, second.
All in favor? Aye.
While Rick is looking that over, Larry, I don't know where you're getting the numbers from. Every town does the same thing. You have specs, you put it out to bid, you get bids, and generally, we take the lowest bid unless we've had a history of problems with that contractor. There are very, very limited exceptions to the bidding process.
The only way to disqualify a contractor is if he's on the discard. Other than that, you have to go with the lowest bidder.
So if Elmwood Park, just my dime. Elmwood Park has a 1,000-foot road. They put out the specs for a 1,000-foot road. 5 people bid on it. Elmwood Park takes the lowest bidder. Whoever it is, it could be, I'm not gonna name names, but it could be that person. Saddlebrook puts out something for a 1,000-foot road. People bid on it. I can't see how contractors are going to see a road in Saddlebrook that's 1,000 feet and say, it's gonna be $300,000, and for Elmwood Park, they're gonna say, well, we're only gonna charge you $150,000. I mean, unless there's this vast conspiracy against Saddlebrook by a number of contractors, it just doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of contractors, but there are not that many, when you think about it, that do governmental work. That's kind of, a construction company does government work, they generally do a lot of government work. It's usually we see the same people coming to bid. So it's not that they have... Stop it. It's not that they have the Hilton of contractors, and we have the Motel 8 of contractors. It's all done in accordance with the public bidding law. It's a law of how you do it. For you to say that other towns get better contractors and other towns pay much less than we do for the same kind of work, prove it to me that that's the case. No, we're not, you can't talk anymore. So, you can't talk anymore, Larry, please stop, because it's not your time. You had 15 minutes up there, as opposed to 3. So, you can say that all you want. It just doesn't make any sense that other towns are getting less, they're paying less for the same work than we do. It's a bidding process. It just doesn't work that way. And what Ms. Ottarelli said about that, the one thing that, and I talked to her at that Christmas light, at the Christmas party, a holiday party, whatever they call it now. But I don't think there's anybody who was at that party or that function that didn't have a camera. So we were taking pictures, and the poor Mr. Alicasa was trying to print these out, and we had some people, and actually I went up to, my wife moaned and did something else to stop it, because one lady was like, oh, crop this and do this, and I wasn't smiling. It's like the DMV. You take one picture whether you like it or not. But everybody was taking their own pictures of their kids. And we were taking the picture. I mean, maybe next year we don't give pictures because everyone has their own picture. Take your own picture. And if somebody says, I don't have a camera or I can't afford a camera, somebody will take a picture, give us your email or tell us where you live and we'll drop it off. But for the most part, every single person has a camera, and I am sure that everybody was taking 4, 5, 6 pictures of their kids with Santa at the same time that we were taking that one picture and trying to get it done. So I agree. It took, the lines were ridiculously long, only because it took that long to do it. Put your kid on there, you take your own picture, and move on.
Yeah, so through the chair, some of the people too, what they do is they pick it up at town hall. Christine, it was about 10 that just said they would pick it up, and they said you can come to town hall and get it. You know what? See, the thing is too, we could also put those online, but then it wouldn't print out that Merry Christmas from Mayor White and Township Council, because I guess that's a program. I don't think that would appear on there. That I'm not sure of.
All right, I'm going?
Yes.
Anyway, the other thing, right, the other thing, just once, I'm sorry, 1 second. But regarding Larry, you know what? What Mr. Simaluka, I did what Mr. Simaluka said, but I remember there were some companies years ago that used to work in town. I don't know if they went out of business but big ones like Smith Sondy, I remember that name.
Yeah, I remember that Smith
Right.
yeah.
But they never bid. Maybe because, for years, we just started this paving program, and for years we had nothing. We had no program. So, maybe they bid on bigger jobs or towns that are doing more work. So, you might get a better price. Yeah.
Like I say, there's 3 guys working on ground for 6 days. 3 guys. You bring 3 guys to a job like that, you do a driveway with 3 guys. You don't do a road with 3 guys. 1 guy's in the machine and 2 guys are with shovels. Come on. And I can tell you when you show up to the job whether you're there or not. You don't have to do the work.
And through the chair,
Yes.
I have to agree with Andrew and Sylvia. It was such a burden in La Casa with the camera and printing it out. I think, like you said, you offer them the opportunity with their own camera. Listen, we'll give you enough opportunity to take 10 pictures. Take 10 pictures and move on. I think it's easier that way. And like you said, if somebody doesn't have a camera, I'm sure somebody will take a picture for them and send it. It doesn't cost anything to send a text or an email. So I think that's our best way to keep that line moving in a timely manner, because this year was rough. I felt bad for him. He stayed a little extra longer, and people over his shoulder. When's my picture coming out? When's my picture coming out? Well, it takes time.
Yeah, people don't like.
So I do agree. I think we should just offer them 10 pictures with their own camera and move on.
Sounds
It's
good.
just safer and easier.
Okay, thank you for suggestions, ideas. Motion to close?
Motion? Second.
All in favor? Doesn't, yeah, right. Good night, everyone. Merry Christmas.